Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Bite-Sized Cybercrime, the podcast where we discuss cybercrimes and cybersecurity news. This week we will be discussing mobile devices, malware, and more specifically, a new way to detect malware on an iPhone. Mobile devices are becoming more and more common, not just with phones, but with tablets and devices like the iPod Touch that are the size of the phone without all the same functionality. Kids are getting phones younger, organizations are supplying employees with smartphones. Basically, everyone carries a smartphone these days, which makes them great targets for spyware. Spyware is just what it sounds like. It's malware that spies on the user. One notorious example of spyware is called Pegasus, which really deserves its own episode at some point. But anyways, the simple version is Pegasus was created by Israeli cyber arms company NSO Group, and it can be installed covertly, without the user being aware, and remotely onto both iPhones and Androids. It was created for the Israeli government to prevent acts of terrorism before they happened. However, it has also been used to spy on the citizens of other countries all around the world, and it's capable of collecting call and text data as well as passwords. Striking a balance between privacy and security is often quite complicated. I believe in both, and I do believe Pegasus is crossing the line. There are many variants of Pegasus, and it's gotten into the hands of many different types of threat actors, be it nation-states or other bad actors that aren't necessarily associated with a country. Anyways, onto our actual story of the day. On January 16th, 2024, it was announced in a report on SecureList, which is written by Kaspersky Labs, a Russian multinational cybersecurity company, that there is a way to detect spyware like Pegasus as well as similar high-profile spyware on iOS devices. Sorry, Android team, our time has not come quite yet. All you needed to do was look at one file, named shutdown.log. As the name suggests, shutdown.log logs each reboot event, and this file has events that can date back to several years, so it's quite extensive. According to Maher Yamaut, who wrote the report, when you reboot your phone, the operating system will shut down any running applications properly, so as not to cause issues with corruption. But if a process is still running while the reboot is starting, it is logged with a process identifier, or PID number, and the log acknowledges that this process prevented a normal, graceful reboot, and that the system had to wait for it to terminate. Processes that cause this delay can be ordinary applications, but in some cases, it was processes related to the Pegasus spyware. This was determined due to the logs containing a file system path commonly used by the spyware that you wouldn't really expect from a benign application or other program. The paths being /private/var/db and /private/var/tmp. These are indicators of compromise. An indicator of compromise is just what it sounds like. It's a sign that part of a system has been compromised, usually in a specific way. And these indicators are clear-cut signs that there is some sort of spyware on the system. Kaspersky was able to publish some Python scripts on GitHub named iShutDown, to automate the process of looking through the shutdown.log file, making it easier to read and detect anomalies and this indicator of compromise. Just one or two processes delaying in the shutdown is not that unusual or concerning, but Kaspersky has determined that 4 or more is cause for concern and can indicate the presence of spyware or some other type of malware. Using these Python scripts, though not necessarily for beginners, is far quicker and easier than performing full-on digital forensics on the device, which in the past is what you would have to do to uncover the malware. Digital forensics is rather tricky, and it is often more difficult on mobile devices because methods are not nearly as fleshed out as they are on traditional computers like laptops, desktops, and servers. And compared to traditional computers, things are a lot more siloed off in mobile devices and harder to access. If you have a computer, be it Windows, Linux, or a Mac, you probably have administrator rights to that computer, assuming you own it. This is not necessarily the case with phones, and administrator rights on phones also can't be granted very easily. You need to go through a process that essentially breaks the warranty in order to get administrator access to your phone, also known as root access. The spyware actually does install by getting root access to your device, but unfortunately it only grants itself root access, not you, which can make investigating it tricky. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Bite-Sized Cybercrime, and another thanks to Kaspersky Labs for discovering this new way of exposing the Pegasus spyware, as well as Bleeping Computer and the Hacker News for reporting on this case. If you're interested in checking out those links, they're always below in my paste bin in the description, as well as some other sources. Anyways, until next time, stay secure.